The real reason to consider Michael Burry's warning for 2022. Don't forget, he said S&P 500 might go down to 1900. It looks like Santa Claus is coming to town at last. Better late than never. One reason is Wall Street doesn't want the market to crash at year end, because everyone is expecting a crash right now. There are twice as much more bearish people right now than bullish people. You know about stock market crash, it always comes when you're least expecting it to. Right now, everyone in the market already knows the economy is already in or going into a recession. Thus, they are already expecting a crash. About Michael Burry's prediction, you know he will be early, but right at the end. Just like he said he should have shorted Tesla stock. He did it too early though. In the early 2021, he called inflation, and he started shorting TLT. At that time, long bonds actually went higher to make a right shoulder. He was right at the end, but always acted too prematurely. How about this time? In this year, he said, we have no idea how short he is in the market. He warned that the S&P 500 might go to 1900. Is that what's waiting for us next year? How about macro? Are we headed towards a deflation crash or a 1970s stagflation crash? I will explain it all right after this. And of course, smash the like button. If you want to be my good boy, apply to write your first book with me. Welcome back to the Audacious Money Witch channel, where we talk about macroeconomy, stocks, bonds, and commodity markets. If you like any of these topics, you are intelligent. That's why you're here, and you know what to do. And push my button if you like what you see in today's video, because I can't push it from this side. This video is brought to you by my Patreon. If you are a good boy, go to patreon.com/magicalgoddesscheryl to add more meaning into your life. If you play your cards right and completely submit like my good boys do, then I will take you under my wing. Author of best-selling books, Goddess Cheryl. My good boys always get rewarded handsomely. You are such a good boy. You like hearing that, don't you? You want to get into the bookstore, you want it to be real, you want it to be true. You need to be my client, don't you? This is my last video of the year. I want to thank you for riding this market train with me. One thing I learned is that patience really is worth a lot of money. Timing the market is art. Not all investors are artists. Michael Burry, the prescient investor of the Big Short fame, issued a slew of dire predictions in 2022. The Scion asset management chief warned of a dramatic decline in stocks and forecasted a slump in consumer spending, and company earnings would spark a painful recession. Burry bet against Apple, virtually liquidated his portfolio for a period, and hinted he may be short the market. He also took several jabs at Tesla, but welcomed Elon Musk's Twitter purchase. Burry diagnosed a spectacular bubble in asset prices and predicted an epic crash in 2021. He doubled down on his doomsaying in the first half of 2022, warning the S&P 500 was heavily overvalued and could have in value to around 1900 points. He also laid out why stocks were bound to fall based on historical trends, called out silliness and unwarranted optimism in markets, and complained about people's refusal to listen to him. He cautioned that stubborn inflation might prevent the Federal Reserve from bailing out markets, and said observing the downturn felt like watching a plane crash. All theaters are overcrowded, and the only way anyone can get out is by trampling each other, he said in October, and still the door is only so big. Burry flagged the risk of post-reopening inflation as early as April 2020 and has repeatedly criticized the Fed for overstimulating markets and acting too slowly to curb price increases. He warned in May that consumers, squeezed by rising interest rates and soaring prices, food, fuel, and housing costs are saving less, borrowing more, and burning through the funds they stashed away during the world crisis. He cautioned they might run short of money by the end of 2022, causing consumer spending to slump, corporate earnings to suffer, and economic growth to weaken. Burry also predicted inventory gluts for retailers, layoffs for white-collar workers, higher long-term inflation, and a years-long recession. Moreover, he suggested the coming downturn could rival the financial crisis in magnitude and devastation. Burry made several striking changes to Scion's stock portfolio this year. The investor placed an unexpected bet against 800,000 Apple shares in his first quarter. Next, he dumped all but one of his holdings in the second quarter, slashing his portfolio's value from $165 million to about $3 million, and stoking fears that a market crash was around the corner. While he partially restocked Scion's portfolio in the third quarter, Burry rushed to disabuse his followers of any notion he's optimistic about the market outlook. "You have no idea how short I am," he tweeted. And Burry was not talking about how tall he was or how short he was. He was talking about his portfolio and how short he was in the market. Burry, who bet against Tesla and clashed with Elon Musk in 2021, continued his assault on the electric vehicle company this year. He warned in April that the automaker will face tough competition and said in September that he should be short its stock. The investor may be feeling vindicated, as Tesla stock has plunged nearly 70% from its peak last November. On the other hand, Burry welcomed Musk's involvement in Twitter as a victory for free speech. The Tesla CEO, who labeled Burry a broken clock last year, also appeared to warm to the investor. Elon Musk has predicted a U.S. economic downturn that will last up to 18 months and recommended investors ride it out by conserving cash, avoiding debt, and taking fewer risks. It does seem like we're headed into a recession here in 2023, Musk said during an episode of the All In podcast released on December 24th. "My best guess is that we have stormy times for a year to year and a half, and then dawn breaks roughly in Q2 2024. The Tesla, Twitter, and SpaceX CEO noted the severity of the looming recession isn't yet clear, but it could rival the slump in 2009 that followed the collapse of the housing bubble. Musk recommended investors brace for hard times ahead by setting aside some cash and making prudent bets without borrowed money. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. The technology billionaire said, "Don't get too adventurous. From a cash standpoint, keep powder dry. I really advise people to not have margin debt in a volatile stock market," he continued. "If there's massive panic in the stock market, then you've got to be really careful about margin debt. Right now, we are at $300 billion in margin debt. At the bottom of 2009, no one has any margin debt left. except for cash in their portfolio. Musk has been pounding the recession alarm in recent weeks and warning the Federal Reserve's flurry of interest rate hikes this year have increased the risk of a serious downturn. In response to rapid inflation, the U.S. Central Bank has raised rates from almost zero in March to over 4% today and signaled they could peak around 5% next year. While higher rates can help relieve upward pressure on prices by discouraging spending, borrowing, and hiring, they can also pull down asset prices, erode corporate profits, and cause the economy to shrink. Still, Musk suggested on the podcast that after a largely uninterrupted 14-year expansion of the U.S. economy is overdue for a recession. Milton Friedman famously said, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, in the sense that it is and can be produced only by a more rapid increase in the quantity of money than in output. If you insist that increases in money supply constitute inflation, then you must also insist that we are in a period of deflation right now. The major deflation risk is that we do have masses of zombie corporations that will go bust and all their debt with them. Jeff Bezos, Amazon's founder and executive chairman, has offered similar advice to Musk in recent weeks. The e-commerce pioneer also warned of an impending recession and advised Americans to batten down the hatches by taking fewer risks and delaying big-ticket purchases to conserve cash. I think going into 2023, it's better be cash loaded than stock loaded. You are in a position of power when you are cash loaded. We are crashing one way or another next year. If you believe in Michael Burry, which you should, we are going down to south of 2,000 on S&P 500. You know he will be right at the end. This is my collaboration book. It's already yours. Adversity equals success. I will post the link for you to order your copy before the new year. And these are all of my clients on the cover here. And it was just published before the end of the year. So a big congratulations to all of the authors. Such an amazing book, and congratulations. And this is my client Eazzy's book. It's called Wicked Pussy Perfume. It is an erotic novel. Such an awesome book. Order your copy before the new year. Happy New Year, everyone, for 2023. You are such a good boy for watching my video right till the end. Bye.